I have always identified myself as Jewish. I have like outside my window or up there in my window, I have this hand of Miriam that I got maybe, I don't know, from a friend of my mom's for maybe 15 years ago or 10 years ago. So I always had that in my apartment. And I got like a small menorah somewhere that I got from a friend. Because I felt that it would be nice to have that kind of thing home. And I also like a year ago I got as a graduation present when I graduated from law school. My mother asked me what I would want as a graduation gift, and I thought that it would be nice to start wearing a David star, because I'm not religious in any way, but it would just be a nice way to manifest my identity. So now I wear a David star. At least when I remember to put it on in the morning, I wear it, but yeah.
And because your brother, he told me that you, like as a family, you celebrate now some Jewish holidays, yeah?
Yes. It's like, I don't remember that we did it maybe 20 years ago. I don't think so, but we started some time ago. Just to, maybe we did it, I don't remember, but now it's more pronounced that we just have, but it's not very traditional or not very specific, we just meet for dinner on Pesach and we have dinner, and we have this kind of book that is a guide to a simplified version of Pesach traditions, and we read a little bit from the book, and then we eat a lot of food, and for example, every time we have also, every Christmas, around Christmas, we have a Hanukkah dinner, which is basically, we have a dinner and we light some candles, but we also celebrate Christmas and have Christmas presents and stuff like that. It's mostly Pesach and Hanukkah that we would get together and have dinner. And maybe, I don't think that we sort of would gather in the same way on Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or something like that. But, yeah, I think we started doing it because it would be nice to sort of have this tradition in the family a bit more pronounced than we did. But I also remember that when I was around 13, we had a bar mitzvah, which was very not traditional at all. Yeah. But it was, it was me, and it was my mother's, the son of my mother's friend, and I think another guy, and it was extremely non-religious. It was not, the rabbi or the synagogue was not involved at all. We just met a couple of times and talked about being Jewish, and because I think we were children, we watched this, the Disney cartoon movie, The Prince of Egypt, about Moses, and talked a little bit about that, and that was it, basically. So,
but it was in some reference to the Jewish community here in.
Yeah, like yeah, or it wasn't the Jewish community at all. It was a friend of my mother's who sort of made it happen, who had a bar mitzvah for me and his son, and I think there was one more person. But he's very secular, and he's very not very traditional at all.
Because I wonder, so what is to be? Are you consider yourself just be a Polish Jew in Sweden, or?
No, I think I consider myself more Jewish than Polish Jewish. But we are not. I think from the background that we came, also because we came from Poland, which was communist and very secular culture, or at least after the Second World War for Jews. I think that my mother and her family tried quite hard not to be Jewish after the Second World War in Poland, and I don't think that they wanted to pronounce that they were Jewish in the Polish community. They changed their name from Jewish names to maybe not Polish names as many other people did, but they did so anyway. So I think that when they came here, they didn't have many Jewish traditions. I don't think that my mother celebrated many Jewish traditions when she was little, so she didn't have that tradition or that routine maybe of doing it. So but when she came here, it was, I mean, when you're being thrown out of a country because you are something, it makes that identity more pronounced. I mean, it makes it very obvious that you are Jewish if you're getting thrown out of a country because you are Jewish. So I think they maybe embraced it more than.
But when you think about that history and of that history that what you said, that your mother and your grandparents, they were throughout from Poland because they were Jewish. How does it influence why that you think about yourself? Does it has any kind of I don't know, emotional influence?
I think it influences because it makes my Jewish identity more pronounced also. To know that, you know, these things happened to my family because they were Jewish. It also makes me more Jewish in one sense, because it's a very much part of how my family came to Sweden and why they are here, and so I think so. But emotionally, I think it doesn't influence me that much. I mean, I don't have any particular feelings towards Poland, or I mean, I don't have any particular feelings of resentment or, you know, anger of what happened back then. I think it was a long time ago. It happened 20 years before I was born. So for me to have an emotional connection to it isn't that the emotional connection to 68 is maybe not that strong. It's more of a fact of history that formed my identity, I think, rather than. But I think my mother and her generation has a much more emotional connection, of course, to that event, because they experienced it in a completely different way.